All right, all the way live.
We're back.
All the way live.
Wednesday, May 11th, 2022. Still in the pandemic.
Man.
We are still here. Brother Diallo, it's good to see you, man.
It's good to see you too. And I'm feeling extra secure this evening.
Extra secure.
Yep.
Like an extra alpha male secure?
No.
Or extra secure, like I just know I'm on my shit tonight.
No. Biden's in Chicago right now. He's not too far from us.
Where's he at?
5 miles from where we're sitting right now.
What did he come to lie about tonight?
Ukrainian village.
Oh, he's visiting the Ukrainian.
No, where we are, the neighborhood we broadcast out of is called Ukrainian Village.
Really? I did not know that.
That's the name for this neighborhood.
Okay.
You didn't notice all the Ukrainian flags?
No, man.
I feel like I'm a little off. There we go.
Man, I don't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
When I'm driving.
We're in Ukrainian Village.
Okay.
You don't look where you go. See, you didn't grow up in the hood like I did. You didn't grow up in the projects.
I didn't grow up in the projects.
So I
grew up in Milwaukee.
Everywhere. I look for flags. I drive through a neighborhood, especially when I don't live in.
I just knew that instinctively. Like I know the sections of the different gangs in Milwaukee. If you would ask me something, I'd be like I knew that.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Listen, if you have any like Putin or Russian regalia in your car, bumper sticker,
I'm gonna get some.
Take it off. Not around here. This ain't that hood.
I'm getting
nobody set trip harder than Europeans and white people. Nobody have more aggressive music too loud. The music still playing.
Are you saying that the original gangsters?
Yeah, they the OGs. They the OG. And you know what OG stands for? The only gangsters.
Only gangsters.
White people, Europeans are the OGs.
The OGs.
They are the only gangsters. How about that?
Church.
And show me a black gangster organization.
Church. That
in any way rivals.
Church.
The European gangsterism.
They've done a lot.
Right. From drug dealing.
They've done a lot.
Killing, claiming sets.
All the problems that we have in our community is because of them.
Exactly. So they are. Oh, but then we got responsible, healthy black people that don't support blaming the white man.
Oh no, man. We gotta pull up our own pants and bootstraps.
Exactly. So
and get on our own people.
Respectability.
Yeah.
Negroes.
A bunch of nonsense.
Exactly.
Let's keep it real.
So, real talk. But Europeans are the OGs, meaning only gangsters. And until you can show me a criminal enterprise or organized and sustained by people who aren't European that in any way rivals the European, then I'll take that back. I take it back.
Look, man, you are preaching.
Okay.
And I'm with you.
All right. Well, that's good because today's topic is I forget these long. I usually put it up here. Today we're supposed to be talking.
Well, first of all,
all right.
Look, two things before today is the birthday of my grandfather who passed away in 2004. And usually today is a really sad day, but I've had a really great day. And I remembered him all day. I remember him all the time. But today, I was just extra smooth with it like he was today. I felt him with me, man.
Cool.
Yeah. The other thing is alpha males are in mourning, brother.
Yeah.
It's almost a week moment of silence for them. They're going through it, man.
Yeah, but they ready to bang too.
We got some good topics tonight.
Yeah. So you want to start down the list or just jump in?
Let's just start down the
anywhere.
List,
all right. So we'll just head
man?
down the list.
Let's just go down the list.
I don't know. Do we want to start with bullshit or go straight into the politics?
Let's start with the politics, man.
All right, let's start with
the politics, man.
Young Thug.
Oh man. Slime.
Got Rico.
Slime. Yes.
Young Slime. What is it? Life. Slime Life.
Young Slime Life.
And Gunna turned himself in today.
He
only has one. They said he has one charge, whereas Young Thug.
It's like 59.
No, Young Thug has like 59. He
indictments.
Is under the 59.
Yes.
But when I first heard Young Thug and Rico, I'm like, he's done. But now I don't think he's done anymore.
Why not?
Because it's a state Rico. It's not fair.
I saw that. It is a state Rico. I saw that. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
They said that they're responsible for like 55 murders in 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was some case, and that state attorney, she's really dug into these guys. They studying you since 2013.
I thought it was 2015. You go back.
Oh man, 2013, 2014. They've been studying these guys.
Wow.
So they waited a long time.
Murders, drug trafficking,
all type of
witness intimidation,
all type of degenerate behaviors.
Obstruction of justice. I mean,
his music isn't that memorable to me. I mean, there's about 3 songs from Slime that I really enjoy, and it's Good Times.
I don't know that one.
All About the Money with T.I. I used to play it on 0 to 100 all the time.
I don't
remember.
You hear me
rapping in the background. And Pick Up the Phone with
I don't know that one.
Quavo from the group Migos. And what's that brother's name in Houston where all those people died at his concert? Travis Scott. Travis Scott, yeah.
Well, I know 2 songs.
And you
one that I like, the other one I'm indifferent to.
What song is that?
I like Stoner.
You gotta sing that for me.
I'm about to bus. I'm a stoner. I'm a stoner. I'm a stoner.
That's your favorite song.
I know that one. I know Girlfriend. That's my best friend. The only reason I know that's my best friend is because there was this sister who had a song called That's My Best Friend.
Yeah.
And he stole it from her. I think her name was Tokyo Vanity.
Tokyo Vanity.
So he stole Best Friend from Tokyo
like she
Vanity.
Did porn. Blazing porn.
Well, I would.
That's what she sounded like.
If she did do porn, I would have to investigate. It'd have to be BBW porn.
Hey,
you never seen Tokyo?
That's a popular subcategory.
You don't know Tokyo?
No, man. I want to know. Does she have an OnlyFans? What are we talking about?
I haven't heard
here?
from her in a while, but there's Darcy. Archie.
I wanna just say
this
quickly.
Well, you know, Tokyo Vanity.
She got some appeal.
Y'all want to see?
She got some appeal, man. She got that Lizzo vibe working.
Yeah. She was Lizzoing long before Lizzo. In fact,
she should have got a flute.
No, Lizzo got that Tokyo Vanity vibe. She stole that.
Sister should have got a flute, and then she would have been Lizzo. All you need is a flute, man. Play that flute and twerk.
But you know, I saw Lizzo on Saturday Night Live. And oh, girl
is talented.
Yeah, mad talented. But here she is. This is Tokyo Vanity.
Was that the SNL that had Dave Chappelle and they brought all the famous black comedians?
I don't know.
Eddie Murphy hosted that one. Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
No, Lizzo was hosting in the recent one.
Oh, there's a recent one.
She was actually the host. Maybe she was the musical guest then, but that Best Friend, I know that song, and Lifestyle.
I don't know.
Lifestyle.
Oh yeah, Lifestyle. I forgot about that. That's another hot record that came and went. Yeah.
And so I mean, people already saying free Young Thug.
Keep that nigga locked up.
My thing is,
he needs some rehabilitation.
If you can make good songs, you can murder, pillage the black community. You know, if I ever got beef and I want to just start blazing people, I gotta just drop a hot track.
So basically, just get a beat and rap, and you could do anything you want.
You don't even have to rap good.
It was his whole lifestyle. It was his whole swagger. Like he dressed differently. You know what I'm saying? He dressed like Prince. You know what I'm saying?
Like
he had and Thugger had his own distinctive style of whatever he was doing, of rapping, singing, if you want to call it those things. He had a distinctive style and flair to him. So I can see why people gravitated to him.
So you know the question of the day is,
keep that nigga locked up.
Oh, that's what I was about to ask you.
Yeah.
Are you hashtag free Young Thug or hashtag keep Young Thug?
I'm hashtag I don't care.
You know, when they bring Jesus out and they was like, take and the colonial Roman governor is like, and they was like, give us Barabbas, or do you want Jesus? He was going to pardon one of the condemned men.
It was, and the people
wanted
said no.
The thief. They like keep Jesus.
Man, take Jesus.
So you
keeping the thief.
You team keep Young Thug.
They were so ungrateful, man. I come here to save you. I'm feeding you with loaves of bread and fish. I'm healing lepers.
Yes.
And you gonna take the thief?
Yep.
We don't even like family members who steal from us. Nobody likes a thief. But they took a thief over of the Messiah.
He was a sacrificial lamb. I got
that's
two
why
sons.
we here.
And if I send my son to your house to die for you, and you don't kill him, then you wasting everybody's time.
That's ridiculous.
God is what? A psychopath.
Not to veer too far off the conversation, but before we got online, Diallo was explaining to me that his favorite member of Tribe Called Quest was Jerobi.
Yes.
The man that got kicked off the group. That's the
he
favorite.
He didn't get kicked off.
Then how come he wasn't in Midnight Marauders and other
I
other
think he
albums?
does. He was on People's and Push It Along. Go listen to Push It Along.
He was in a skit.
He was on that track.
He was in they had him do all the skits.
Funk rhythm.
How are you a Jerobi fan? How is that your favorite? I guessed Fife. I said, oh, that's a Fife man all day. No. You blew my mind. Last week when you said you were a Prize fan, it blew my mind. I didn't think that I could have my mind more blown. And then you tell me that Jerobi, the side chick of the group, is your favorite member.
And
he got like 5 lyrics.
My favorite member of Public Enemy.
Oh, we know. The Coon.
No, I changed that. It's S1W.
No. You just said 10 minutes ago it was Flavor.
Well, I don't mind being Flavor Flav because you know why? Flavor Flav could rap good. Yes. He plays the bass. He plays the piano. He plays the drum.
Diallo explained to me that Jerobi is now a chef.
Yeah, but
he's even keeping up with this guy.
Yeah.
You know about his professional and personal moves.
Yes.
This is disturbing.
My favorite member of Poor Righteous Teachers?
Who?
Culture Freedom.
Of course. Of course.
But Culture Freedom could rap, though.
Yeah.
He was a hype man for the Poor Righteous Teachers, but now he put out his own music. So, yeah.
I mean, Jerobi could rap.
Yes.
I just would never.
He could dance, too.
Like, if somebody held a gun to my head and they were like, predict Brother Diallo's favorite member of Tribe Called Quest or you're dead, I would never pick Jerobi. I would have never picked that. I would have been dead. I would have said Fife.
Who's your favorite Wu-Tang?
Ooh, man. That's tough. That's tough, man. I like Ghostface. I like Raekwon. Man, who?
Exactly. You know, it's like 35. You pick any random dude in Brooklyn, and he's a Wu-Tang member. Cullen from 7th Ave. That's my favorite Wu-Tang member because everybody's a member of Wu-Tang. Am I lying?
Wait.
What, man?
You said who?
Jaheim.
I thought you were talking about the singer turned
no
Hebrew Israelite. Jaheim.
Oh yeah, that poor brother.
No, you're talking about some weed carrier from Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Oh man,
yep. Here he is.
Blowing me away.
I mean, Shaheem. I'm sorry.
Oh, Shaheim is different.
Yeah.
He was on the Parenthood. Was
I didn't see
Robert Townsend's show with
didn't see it. Didn't see it.
Reagan Gomez.
Didn't see it. But you know, I'm not a fan of Wu-Tang overall, man.
Why not?
That whole
5%er.
That whole grimy New York dudes used to walk around in the early 90s, just roam around New York with aluminum baseball bats and pit bulls.
That's great.
You know.
Yeah. Pull up on me.
Right. And so that's when the whole bohemian New York, the verb stick De La Soul vibe left from Tommy Boy Records, and it went to that roughneck. I need a roughneck. Gotta get a roughneck. Onyx.
Joshua Bishop. What happened to Jaheim?
He's still out
I'm gonna
there.
keep it real with you, man. He looks like he's been smoking crack. And the last picture I saw of him, he was really skinny, really ashy, but he looked like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. I think he's probably he's probably a Hebrew Israelite.
Yeah.
Or or Moors. I don't know.
Yeah.
They all look crazy to me.
Is. My brother looks enlightened.
My nigga's enlightened. He's probably a minister. He's probably the minister of propaganda. Jaheim is the minister of propaganda for the Hebrew Israelites.
He's got the Star of David.
Hey,
yeah, he's definitely a Hebrew.
There you go.
But he got tattoos.
He's spiritually awakened.
Oh, yeah. Oh
man,
I'm not into R&B with Shaheem. So
let's get back to Thugger, man, because I learned something new about Thugger today. His charities.
But before we get, go on.
Oh, go ahead. What you had, man?
before we could talk about his charities, can we talk about his offenses? Or you want to go to the good?
No, let's go to the offenses.
I mean, do you want to be the legal defense?
Let's go to the offenses.
Okay. There's
Your
many
Honor,
offenses, but
these claims are baseless.
I'll go with there's a lot of things he's done or said questionable, but I'm gonna go with the most recent thing he said and one of the earliest things that brought him to light. Right. So this is the first one, right, where he basically calls for eugenics. So I'm gonna play this, and y'all take it as y'all will, without judgment.
A lot of black people call for eugenics.
I know, and they don't even know it.
God need to set some rules, bro. We need new rules. We need a new oath, bro. If you're a broke ass nigga, you should not be able to nut because you bringing poor kids into this world. For nigga, you making niggas rob and kill and steal because you running around with no type of career, no nothing. Having kids. Now your kids growing up won't shit. Your kids growing up looking at Thug and his game.
Tell him, Thug.
Man, listen, man, bitch. Gotta realize that when you ain't got none or worse than nothing, don't have a future. Your job don't got nothing to do with what you went to school for.
Right.
You got to adjust to whatever a nigga do for you. You can't want top tier situations and you the bottom of the barrel.
Talk about a high value.
How the fuck you thought that worked? How you think that worked?
Yeah.
Bitch, you be dead ass broke on a Birkin.
Broke.
2 days before
What the hell you gonna put the Birkin in the goddamn in the
You
Uber?
said that 2 days.
Yeah.
Get your house, then get your car to park at your house.
Okay.
Then get your Birkin.
That's the first. That's the first offense, right? I'm gonna play one more.
Y'all all trying to go to step 10.
You can justify this mentality because this is a very influential individual.
Right.
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 Extremely influential.
Right.
And so here's the next one.
Yeah.
Thugger. This is an old one. So that's just a couple of days ago from his social.
Make sure you post it from your page.
What's that mean?
The feed.
They're doing a special on Mike Brown, the Ferguson situation. What do you think needs to be changed in the way that black men are policed in America?
First of all, he's looking wavy.
Leave that up with the critics and the laws and all that old shit. We having fun. We iced out. We having money. That's how we doing it.
Do you feel like it's not the artist's place to speak on social issues?
No.
Okay.
Duh.
So he said when brothers
leave it
get
up
in
to
trouble
the
with the law, just leave it. Leave it to the politicians.
He said the
The
laws.
politicians, leave that to the politicians and all that. We out here making money. We making money. So you want to talk about that? You want to talk about the good, the Robin Hood?
The second is I can't really defend that. But the first one, a lot of people call for eugenics. A lot of people have said that if you don't earn a certain income,
yes,
you should not be able to have any kids.
Right.
We have people who don't even believe in abortion in our community.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So Thugger was he's a man of the people. He was just speaking for the people, man.
So
that second one I can't defend. That's terrible.
That's a logical fallacy. Saying something is justified because a lot of people believe it.
Yeah.
That's a fallacy.
I agree.
That's argument ad populum.
What I found interesting was
you can't say something's right or wrong based on how many people accept it or believe it or agree with it. That's not how you determine.
Well, that's how most people determine what's good, bad, or right or wrong. Is what's most popular. Really, who has the most clout, most money, saying something? I agree with that person. And that's usually how that works.
Most people are irrational,
no doubt.
So
let's talk about how Thugger is like a Mary Poppins for the hood.
Right. Okay. Right. So we're gonna talk about we ain't gonna spit dirt. Essentially, Thug has a long history of charitable actions.
Nice.
We have here Thugger donated all of his proceeds from his latest concert to Planned Parenthood.
Okay.
Oh, so that might carry his whole. Oops, sorry, Teen Bo. That might back up.
I'm gonna find your porn links on there, man. You keep
so I gotta hurry up and run. And so we know that Thug supports Planned Parenthood.
That's great.
Thug also it's not he's just
all the ticket sales, man. Yep. Not 30%, not 40% of the gate, 100% of the gate.
And then you had mentioned raising money for a food bank.
Hey.
So
Hey,
here's
baby.
Thugger.
Crab legs.
Him and Offset raise money for a food bank.
Right.
They rap giving proceeds.
Okay.
That's not it. There's a lot of this going on.
He's putting his money where his mouth is,
right.
Man.
And this is one that applied to him. Oh, no, I ain't even gonna say that. He also played. Well, I got a bunch of links, but y'all get the idea. He and Gunna went and paid bail for
assaults of like 25 non-violent offenders.
Non-violent offenders.
That's
He paid bail for them.
That's great.
So
great. Shout out to Thug.
Says that poor people shouldn't procreate. He says that he's indifferent to the struggles and plight of black people because he's rocking ice.
Right.
And diamonds, and they partying and leave
that to the laws.
Right. He thinks that artists have no responsibility, but he also donates money to causes such as Planned Parenthood.
He said in the song, "Don't even hate on the law." His mama taught him not to hate on the law because everybody got a job, because everybody want to be a star. So he's pro-police.
So where do you?
Thugger.
Is he a Robin Hood? Is he a thugger?
No.
Making money and helping people out, paying bail.
No.
Planned Parenthood.
No.
Donating money to food banks.
No. He's doing what other rich and elites do. You know, they have all their business misdeeds and whatever things that they're into, and they mask it up with donations to the Boys and Girls Club and other cultural civic institutions in the community. That's what they do. Like, they just spread their money around, keep people silent, because most people are in the nonprofit sector. They want these grants. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get paid. So yeah, that's how a lot of people keep their misdeeds at bay by, it's like Nino Brown when he was giving out turkeys.
Yes.
Every other them giving you out heroin, but today it's a turkey.
Right. So is it a return on investment?
Yeah.
Allegedly engaged in criminal activity, including drug distribution and homicide.
Mm-hmm.
We know for a fact he promotes criminal lifestyle, hyper-consumerism, capitalism. We know he embraces the
slime lifestyle.
Quo. Right. So is that a good return on the investment? I'm going to say, yo, Biddle, your woman, your family, your children, all them kids always running around in the background when I'm talking to you on the phone.
Yeah.
Or we playing Xbox. All them kids, you constantly telling the kids, get off the table.
Oh, man. Do your homework.
Get out from under the bed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I kick in your front door. And I was like, listen, I'm going to do some abuse.
Okay.
I'm going to do some damage in your house.
Just
I'm going to hook some of your kids on drugs. But I'm going to throw a turkey in that refrigerator. And if one of your kids makes it out of this house alive, despite my misdeeds, I'll put something on that tuition. Is that a good trade-off?
Is a turkey fried or smoked? Is it just a regular turkey?
Is it fried or smoked? I'm sorry. It's
tofurkey. Tofurkey?
Yes.
I'm going to throw that at you. I'm going to take the tofurkey and throw it at you. That's what I'm doing first.
So that's my issue.
Yeah.
Is the good that these black celebrities, especially the ones that espouse thuggery and gangsterism, does the good they do outweigh the calamity, the negativity, the harm that they do?
Oh no.
No. So that's my thing where I said, the Robin Hood myth.
Yeah.
A dude makes good selling drugs, doing gangster rap, doing some other antisocial, exploitative, predatory behavior. I'm a pimp, but I put my hoes through school, that type of stuff.
No doubt.
Or like Dolomite, hoes went to karate school, so they got a skill. At the same time, they were being hyper exploited. And I think the community needs to figure that out.
They're never going to figure that out, brother.
You don't have faith.
Slime. I just saw something from Young Dirk. Isn't Little Dirk Young Dirk? Isn't he from Chicago?
Yes.
Okay. So he's hooked up with a mentoring nonprofit. He has his own arm of philanthropy and community service. I forget what it's called. But he's linked up with the Champs mentoring program. And I only know about this because one of the guys that I grew up with at Upward Bound at Marquette University, the pre-college program, he runs it. So I just, just pay attention. And Little Dirk sponsored 15 to 20 youth at the latest Chicago White Sox game.
Does that pay off for all the harm that the BDs commit?
I don't know, but people looked really happy in the video shoot. The kids look happy. The parents look happy. People looked happy.
Let me show you somebody else who had a change of heart.
Young Dirk.
Let me show you somebody else who had a change of heart. I'm going to leave us up here. You ain't seen this? You know about this?
No.
Okay.
Is this Snoop lying? Is this another?
It's Uncle Snoop now. But it's Uncle Snoop. Let's watch what he said.
How I've been affected by gun violence over the years is through deaths of friends and family members and associates.
When I was 5 years old, I was held at gunpoint in a home invasion.
I've gone to the juvenile detention centers and I've met dozens of young kids, babies really, who have been affected by gun violence.
Directly, I've lost a few friends, but I think why this touches my heart is having children of my own.
You know, I've been at parties where, you know, I had just left the party and, you know, maybe 10, 15 minutes later, you know, I heard that, you know, somebody got shot and didn't make it.
That's real, man. That's real. That's real, man.
There are a lot of people benefiting off of our pain, and it's time we do something.
I'm here to unload my investment because I think that it's important that we start kind of seeing where our money is going.
It's time to go to your financial advisor and demand that there are no gun investments in your 401k.
Even if you don't have investments, you can still help spread the word.
This is something everyone can do.
So if you push your people that have 401ks, it might be your grandma, it might be your cousin, this effort can make a big impact.
I'm unloading for my loved ones that I lost.
Snoop Dogg is unloading his gun. Snoop Dogg is taking the tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars he get made from not loving these hoes, and murder was the case.
Hey, man.
And he's taking all of his investment, his entire stock portfolio is being pulled out of guns. Now, that's just small arms. He didn't say anything about Raytheon, Boeing, and the large weapons holdings.
We don't talk about that.
But the small arms like Taurus, like my little 6-shooter revolver, it's a Taurus.
Yeah.
Snoop ain't got no holdings in there.
First of all, Snoop Dogg is taking leadership. After years of degeneracy, murder, degenerate rap, he has turned over a new leaf. He's leading from the front.
So
and now he's anti-violent.
Right.
Yeah. He made his money. He's on Corona commercials. Man, on the beach, the CGI beach. It looks really nice. And now he's anti-violence.
Right.
That's great.
But do you know what provoked this change of heart?
What?
In Snoop? Was it all the violence in the black community? All the homicides?
It had to be. He got tired of it.
Nope. Was it all the gang violence that provoked it? Was it the death of his homies that he mentioned? That
what about Nipsey?
Nope. There's one incident that provoked him to do this.
Was it Nipsey?
Nope. God made a perfect crip in neighborhood Nip.
He did.
I mean, what provoked that was the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting of dozens of little white kids in 2013.
Right. That's tragic.
This is what provoked. But up until then, up until 2013, all the hundreds of thousands of black people murdered and crippled by gun violence.
There were some black kids in Sandy Hook.
Okay, let's look at the Sandy Hook victims. If there's one black kid, if there's one,
there's black people in Sandy Hook. If there's only one,
yes, but it was a wealthy Connecticut. It was a wealthy Connecticut family, school.
Look, man.
Okay, let's just look. Google image the victims.
You just put Sandy.
Show me
Hook
a black. Show
black.
Me,
Just type it in Google. Sandy Hook victims black.
I ain't gonna go through all that.
Google that. Google black.
Here are the victims. I see one girl that looks biracial, but her yes, there's one biracial girl. Stop laughing now. You're gonna get us in trouble. Now this is who. These are the people.
Yeah.
And it was and so these rappers. That Snoop Dogg made,
yes,
from promoting gangsterism to this day, he's no longer getting dividends from the gun industry. So all these artists, but I'm glad you agree with me. I thought we would have to argue about the charity that these wealthy black people do to make up for the hyper exploitation that they engage in.
Yeah. Dr. King has a really good quote on philanthropy, man. What's this quote? I am bad with remembering quotes.
And okay, so and I got one more person I want to discuss before we move on.
Okay,
another person who's doing good.
Dr. King said philanthropy is commendable, but it must not cause the philanthropist to overlook the circumstances of economic justice which make philanthropy necessary.
Good.
It's nonsense.
It's
really neoliberal.
I unite with that. I'm
It's
gonna go ahead and
neoliberal.
jump off live. If you want to continue to watch the Politics and Bullshit show, please Twitter, follow our streams at Politics and Bullshit, and thanks for tuning in. How I get out of here? But the show goes on. Check us out on YouTube, Q4.org, Twitter, and Facebook.
There you go.
Politics X BS at that. And so, Dr. Dre, has just donated $100 million to Compton High School.
That's great.
And we all remember his donation to USC, which was even higher. He donated 70 million.
Right.
But I see conflicting amounts. I've seen everything from 10 million to 100 million, but we know it's a serious grip that Dr. Dre just gave to this school, right?
Right.
And so, how about Dr. Dre? With
first of
the
all,
pioneer of murder music, gangster rap from the start of gangster rap to the build up to drill music and all of the the bastard cousin of gangster rap, that you have a lot of rappers that don't talk murder, but they promote hyper consumerism. Money, hoes, and clothes. All a nigga knows.
All we know, baby.
And so Dre,
that's all we know,
is giving money to these institutions. Does that make up for the role he played in what Dale Jones called the anti-African propaganda?
That's right, he did.
Are we willing to embrace Dre?
I think most people would embrace Dre for his philanthropic,
but let's just
contributions to USC and to this other school that he's giving money to in Compton. I think most people see it as he's giving back. I think, honestly, Brother Diallo, I think that's how most Black people think about giving back. I'm going to do what I need to do for me. I'm not going to forget where I come from.
Alert from Microsoft.
Man, what?
Your computer has alerted us that it is infected by a virus and/or
Oh, man.
This virus may be sending your credit card details.
Oh, man. Let's turn that off right quick.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Man. You all right? See, the feds is on us already. This is a dangerous show.
But I think most people see it like that. They see it in a way that as long as I reach back in some manner, I'm good.
How do we measure the harm and the harm reduction? How do we measure the damage and the damage intervention when these wealthy, successful Black people give back to us after profiting from promoting the most degenerate and backwards ideas and most degenerate and backward behaviors to the masses and mainly to our youth? Because that's that in itself. You're gonna ignore that, right?
That's a
error number 2.
I'm just trying to turn this off.
Just hijacking.
It's scamming season, man.
Yeah, it's scamming season. But we like scammers. We like criminals.
You're right.
Because Europeans love gangster. Like down there on Martin Luther King Drive, down there by McCormick Place, they give these tours of Chicago during the Prohibition era, the Bugsy Siegel, Al Capone, and they take you to where there were massacres and shootings, and white boys were doing drive-bys with Gatling guns long before Black people could even legally engage in commerce, legally drive.
They had a head start.
Right.
On the blammers.
But when you hear the word gangsta, you immediately think of Black people. And so many Black people have a fond idea of gangsta and gangsterism. I got into a back and forth on Twitter earlier today where some dudes talking about gangsters have some potential to make political.
I saw that.
You saw that back and forth.
I saw the thread and I was like, I wanted to tag you. And as soon as I thought about tagging you, somebody else already tagged you.
Right.
And you were on the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I to this day, he said that there was a theory that people like Kwame Ture had that Fred Hampton had. There was a theory that some of these revolutionaries, Tupac, but
everybody mentions
I don't
Tupac.
like listening to Tupac and when I'm listing Black Panthers and Kwame Ture, and you can list.
I get you, but when people think about the gangster revolutionary archetype, Tupac is that archetype. He's like that generation's Fred Hampton in a sense.
Right. But what my position is, that's not a theory. That's a hypothesis.
Okay.
Because a theory has been tested and demonstrated.
Yeah.
So there's a hypothesis that, and even Minister Farrakhan would promote the myth that gangsters were our frontline troops. And that if there's any type of sustained racial conflict, then the gangsters would take their guns and turn them on the enemies, the military, the police, the state, on behalf of the oppressed Black masses.
Remember when Farrakhan would go out into the neighborhoods and just walk around with the FOI?
Right, with the full bodyguard. Yes, I was here during that.
Yeah, cleaning up the streets.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a photo op, and absolutely nothing came of it.
Facts.
So all I say is there's no evidence that gangs will use their capacity or willingness for violence.
True.
Their considerable resources and organizational capacity.
True.
To move numbers of men who have a willingness and a capacity to engage in warfare on to advance our interest as a people.
They would have to be politically educated.
Right. But what happens every time a gangster or a gang becomes politically educated?
The white man.
No. They have to exit gangsterism. The gang itself becomes a threat to them. Whenever a gangster, individual gangster, becomes enlightened and tries to engage with the same people they engaged in reactionary and predatory behavior and say, let's stop being reactionary and predatory and let's become revolutionary and serve the people, the gang begins to target them.
No doubt.
So there is no evidence that gangs have ever been a positive or revolutionary force, but we do have evidence that gangs were mobilized by the government to attack the Black community.
Yeah.
Going all the way back to the 60s riots.
I think it's like it's I think when Black people talk about that, they're talking about the potential. It would be nice. It would be nice if gangsters would just care about their communities more. You know? It's a thought. It's a good thought. Like, hey, man, you know, they could turn it around. You know? They could start being good people. It's like a well wish. Like, how that, you know?
Well,
I don't think they really believe it.
But the gangs,
it's too much evidence to suggest that gangs are parasitic to the community, and
well,
are enemies to the community and agents of the state.
The Black community doesn't have what it takes to mobilize gangs to act in our favor because the gangs have the same ambition and goals as the oppressor. One of the fundamental is to, number one, exercise power and influence through violence and intimidation.
Yeah.
Number two, amass fiat. Those are their two main goals. And they use the same tactics: violence, intimidation, exploitation of vulnerable populations. And they want to amass fiat.
Yeah.
So if we came up with $10 million to give any local gang to say, hey, here's some money,
right,
act on our behalf, guess what the government has the capacity to do? Give them $50 million.
Right.
So there's never any, and I'm not saying Black people go out here and confront these gangs, because Lord knows what we've seen, because that has happened too in the past too.
Yeah.
When Black political organizations mobilize to confront reactionary organizations, the government attacks the political organization.
No doubt.
We have COINTELPRO, right? Yeah. And people ask, oh, why aren't they COINTELPRO gangs? Because gangs are assets of the state.
You're right.
Everywhere. You look up Operation Gladio, when the gangs, when they went to Europe and mobilized the mafia and other criminal organizations. Right now throughout Latin America had a communist socialist uprising amongst the people, and now gang violence is saturating Latin America, Central America, and Mexico, and those gangs are armed and given cover by the U.S. government.
No doubt.
So gangs are counter-revolutionaries. There's
Yeah.
never been a revolution started, sustained, or supported by any large organized criminal element in any oppressed population across the world. But we have this myth that, number one, gangsters or the people who promote that are somehow Robin Hood. And it's a myth we better let go of, because we losing life out here.
It's a rationalization that's rooted in dysfunction.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
it's abusive.
Oh, and then Dr. Dre giving money to UIC, right? You know, I went ahead and looked up the demographics.
Man. His daughter was going there. He hit him up with some bread,
right,
for a arts and music performance center or something of that magnitude, or a school. It's all the bread.
And that institution is 29.5% white, 18.7% Asian.
Okay.
15% Hispanic
or
Latino.
Matter. All lives matter.
And what percentage of it is black?
Gotta be like 6%.
Less than 6%.
3%.
5.48% black. So he give all this money, come out of the black community, you get a grip making black music, and he gave 10. Let me just
should he have given that to Morehouse Spelman? Should he have given it to an historically black college or university?
He could have.
You know what I'm saying?
That's one thing.
ITT Tech. Should he have given it to ITT Tech?
I mean, they don't need it more than UIC. But let's look at Compton High School, because that's where
all lives matter. Right? Dr. Dre obviously believes that all lives matter.
I've never heard him articulate that.
If he's giving money like that to those demographics, one could suggest he's down for the rainbow, man. I'm down for everybody.
Let's move on to Compton High School, where he's given $100 million to Compton High School, right? What are the demographics there? What do you think is the black percentage?
It's probably heavily Latino at this point.
81% Hispanic.
Yeah.
What's the black percentage?
Is it less than 10?
No, it's more. It's better than USC.
Oh, 19%.
16% black.
Close.
But this is Compton. Straight out of Compton. What has happened? It's worse than gentrification.
It's the opportunity zones.
Black people, California is undergoing black ethnic cleansing.
Oh, wow.
South Central Los Angeles, no longer predominantly black. Remember, the gangs got started because black people came out of the South to go into the West and North.
Right.
They were being harassed by the whites.
Right.
And they formed gangs to defend the Slawsons, all them. They formed gangs.
They formed them to defend themselves against.
And now those same gangs are spearheading the expulsion of the same black people. You talk to most black people that leave that are leaving Chicago, same thing happening here. What is the top thing on their list? I can't raise my kids with these bullets flying. Yeah. I got 2 sons
Public safety.
On the South. Every day my son leaves the house to go to school,
gangs
to go to work.
I have lived long enough to become the villain. They've, Batman said that. Either die hero, either they could have died an infant death and been heroic and revolutionary, but they played themselves out, and now they're counter-revolutionary and parasitic. They've lived long enough to become a villain. It's like Jim Brown going to talk to Trump.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like when you look at Jim Brown from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, you would not think that same Jim Brown is going to be talking to Trump with Kanye and just sitting there like, oh, Trump's my guy.
I would think that.
I wouldn't think that. And
he was sitting on Hugh Hefner's lap in the 60s.
But wasn't he also part of the conscious black sport revolutionary movement?
Cosmetic.
Brother Kareem.
What happened was the true revolutionaries got obliterated by COINTELPRO.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had a lot of pretenders to the throne because that revolutionary aesthetic was very attractive to the black masses.
Right.
So in the 70s, the so-called black exploitation era, you had Jesse Jackson used to wear a suit and a little neat Ivy League haircut. And in the 70s, Jesse Jackson grew a big afro and was wearing black dashikis and throwing up the black power fist.
Getting all the ladies.
They gave us a watered down replica of black revolution, and Jim Brown was part of that.
Okay.
But I love that you said the gang stuck around long enough
to become the villain.
But people still, walking around talking about blood stands for brotherly love overcomes oppression and domination. They say CRIPS stands for community revolution in progress. We still have this myth
in progress
that these gangs are formulated to defend the black community from outsiders.
if you talk about lack of progress, if that's true, if that's what you call your game in progress, you guys are making terrible progress.
No, it's a myth that
Right.
that dead
It's
prayers
branding.
with that
Yeah, it's
right
branding.
and then
revolutionary but gangster.
and you
Gangster
got
but
Killer
revolutionary.
Mike,
Yeah,
Killer
yeah.
Mike saying, "Oh, we're gonna turn these Crips and Crip Cola and turn Crips into gangs into multinational corporation, which makes them super gangs. Global go from a local gang to a global gang.
Killer Mike just be saying all type of stuff, man.
You see his
I
cameo?
used to like that guy.
He's
and
a
cameo
magical
in
leader.
the Ozarks. I was like, man, get this get Cookie Monster off here, man.
He's
I used
a
to really
magical
rock with
Negro.
Killer Mike, man.
He can rap
He
good.
came out spitting, man.
He could rap. He could rap. But I had a mentor tell me, talent ain't intelligence.
Not at all.
We see
But
somebody
we
that's got
we conflate talent with intelligence. The black community, if you can play basketball, if you can rap, if you could dance, if you could do anything that's entertaining, we will think that you're a leader.
Right.
That you're so special, above reproach, and that you should be leading the black community because you can bounce a ball, play make-believe in a movie or TV show, dress up, like if games.
Right.
If you can play games really good,
we should listen to you.
I'm hollering at you.
We should make you role models for our children. We should
You're
let
Malcolm
you
now.
set up schools in our community.
In our community for you. Like, I totally believe that. Like people, I mean, especially now in this really weird celebrity culture environment we live in now, where now everyday people feel like they're celebrities, through their branding on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and doing them goofy ass dances, looking like bozos. Like, like they think that they're celebrities and that they're. I remember when the chicken Popeye sandwich debuted it in Milwaukee. Milwaukee. I never had it, but yeah, I never had it, man.
I was gonna try to live vicariously through you, but go on.
I'm trying to live. But the line was like, a couple blocks, and you had so-called black community leaders Facebook living and IG living from the from the parking lot to detail their experience being the first to get this chicken sandwich.
Why was that marketing scheme so successful? It blows my mind. Chicken
don't know,
sandwich been
man.
around
For a long time.
So
But they had niggas going crazy.
what
And people,
was
and our
happening?
so-called leaders were live tweeting about the chicken sandwich experience. From the parking lot to the acquisition to the eating of the said sandwich.
I don't understand that phenomenon.
It was terrible, man.
I spent a lot of time studying mass group behavior, and I couldn't, I'm a political science. My wife is a community psychologist, and we could not figure out what was up with that chicken. But I felt if I could have tasted it.
It's like, you ever see Black Dynamite? It's like Anaconda malt liquor, man.
Ice Cube told us St. Ives malt liquor make your Jimmy get thicker.
Thicker, man.
He's another guy who's a Black Robin Hood. There's no Black Robin Hood.
First of all, he came up with a black political program and took it to Biden and Trump.
Yeah.
And said, talk to me. Holler at me about reparations. Holler at me about things that are advantageous to the black community.
He actually didn't call for reparations as
didn't.
it's understood. What he wanted was a black entrepreneurial renaissance.
That's what when black people talk reparations, brother Diallo, they're talking about that. They're talking about more assimilation, integration tokens.
Right.
That's all they're talking about.
Which
more
will
black,
set us back.
More black businesses,
right.
More black political figures,
right.
More black directors and producers and entertainment, like
right.
in diversity and inclusion and equity. Like that's all black people talk about. Equity. They're the equity mascots. They out here tap that.
They want to be equal to their oppressors. So
they're getting paid. That's what when black people talk about black power, more than likely they're talking about it from a capitalist perspective of we just need more black businesses. We need more black CEOs. That's a big thing.
But that's not black power.
That's what people think it is, though.
That's white mimicry.
And we do that too. We like that.
Yeah,
man.
Y'all.
People be
them.
performing.
All right.
They got white voices. They wear white clothes. They start wearing Chelsea boots. You know what I'm saying? Dressing weird, wearing cover buns, just being weirdos, man. All to tap dance. You know what I'm saying? They be clean though. They be going to brunch. They got their best Easter brunch. Not Easter Sunday, Easter brunch Sunday, where mimosas and twerking is happening. pancakes. You know, they got their little them tight ass pants, those colorful socks. You know, like they dress like they're going to the Kentucky Derby.
Nice. To wrap up this segment,
it was a good segment.
These black people who become wealthy,
which is our dream,
when they give back to us,
the
Robin Hood thing, they go over to the white man, make money, get a name, get fame. They might even go to the Met Gala. They get inducted into the White Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When they get all this money, and then they come back to the black community to set up schools, donate to charities, this and that. We understand that it's a losing prospect, that it's not Robin Hood robbing from the rich to give to the poor. It's just another form of exploitation and manipulation of black people. And what these wealthy black elites extract from our community does not compare
to the destruction
to what they give back. I mean, the damage that they do is no way. So we got to stop dancing in the street, doing the Holy Ghost dance every time some black person of note kicks some money back, give back.
It's not even that. Like politically, all the Democrats know that what they got to do. We got to give you a black Supreme Court justice, a black woman Supreme Court justice. There's tokenism. So we constantly conflate tokenism with progress. I mean, that's just facts. And we feel like our job is to be the whisperer between white people and black people. Like we're the managers. That's what we're trying to acquire, access to the white business community, the white Democratic Party interests, which intersects with the business community. If we're progressive, we try to ingratiate ourselves to white progressives. Like that's what we do. And we feel like that's success. The more of us that we see in these visible positions, we're making a racial progress. And that happens all the time. And we love to be led by leaders. I mean, we love to be led by entertainers. We truly do.
I don't know if we love it so much as we are not offered other options.
Oh no, brother.
Because when we had options,
we love it, man.
When Malcolm, when even Dr. King, when we had Garvey and Du Bois, and when we had alternatives to entertainment leaders, we tend to raise up the revolutionary leaders. That's why they had to assassinate, subvert, and exile.
That's true.
them.
They were.
This is we just kind of defaulted to following prominent blacks because the revolutionary leadership. So I would say that I wouldn't put that on the community. I think if we did have a high profile revolutionary leader, the community would rally.
There have been times in history where we have been slow to realize the true potential of a leader. So when I look at Malcolm, when I think of Malcolm, I think of somebody who didn't even touch his prime. Like his prime in terms of intelligence, in terms of political education, in terms of organizing. Like he wasn't there yet. He was still he was trying to break himself from the Nation of Islam. He was trying to figure out, he had to leave the cult, got disowned. He went the Orthodox way and tried to figure out that way to go. Then he was like, man, keep your religion in your closet. We got the Ballad of the Bullet. Like he was still figuring it out. Like he didn't even get a chance to see it. Fred Hampton, a lot of them don't get the chance to see it. I think Garvey probably had the most sustained time to really build institutions and be out here organizing. But a lot of our great leaders didn't even reach their full potential. And even when you look at people who say they support Dr. King, a lot of black people did not support Dr. King by the time that he died. When he started talking about militarism, materialism, and going against the war, he lost a lot of that black middle class support and black religious support. So he transitioned to union organizing and talking about the Poor People's Campaign and reparations. So a lot of these folks, they were more popular in death than when they were alive.
But I got the solution to that problem, but nobody listens to me.
And OnlyFans?
No.
What?
The solution to that is stop having individuals be leader and allow our ideology and ambitions to lead us. When black people get an ideology and an agenda to lead us, they can't assassinate our leader. Because it's a question I ask everybody: who's the leader of capitalism?
We don't even know. We got a lot of mascots.
Name any individual or any group that you can incarcerate, assassinate, or corrupt in order to disrupt capitalism.
It's an ideology
that's embedded in everybody's mind.
It's a way of
life. Who's
lifestyle.
the leader of America?
Biden's.
So if Biden,
Uncle Bernie,
was diagnosed with dementia tomorrow or assassinated or resigned, would America be disrupted in any way?
Well, no. Because we got Kamala in the wing.
Who's the leader? If Kamala got taken down.
Kamala, sorry. I want to say Kamala every time.
Kamala. I'm going to say Kamala from here on out. Kamala.
Hey, she used to date Montel Williams.
I didn't know he likes us.
The TV radio. I mean, the guy. Montel, what's his name? Montel Williams?
Montel Williams.
I want to say Jordan, but I know this is how we do it, guy.
Yeah, Montel Williams.
Yeah, but it's well known that she slept her way to the top of politics. She was dealing with the San Francisco mayor at the time.
I had some sisters go off on me for saying that.
It's true.
I have some sisters go off on me.
There's evidence on the internet to suggest that she had multiple relationships with key political people in power, and quickly
So who should be condemned for that? The men who elevate a woman off of sex, or the woman who utilizes?
First of all, she's black, so we're good. Okay. She's black. We're good, brother. What are you talking about?
So I don't know. Where were we? You get to talking about sexy Kamala. I get distracted.
Kamala with the mole. She had some Timberlands. Man, you should have saw how she swaggered off the jet. Like, hey, like she finna go to the juke joint.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
So moving. Oh yes, that's what you got me. I can't. Thrazar reminded me. We need an ideology and an agenda to be the leader, and the person, the man or woman that embodies the leadership role becomes interchangeable.
Yeah.
And then we can truly do what Dr. Clark said: bury the man, continue the plan. Then we can do that, because as long as we're following individuals, I think leaders should be interchangeable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm even for term limits.
The organization should be about building leadership. Like that should be about that should be a proponent of the organization, that the idea that everybody's a leader and everybody's and not to think about it in leadership, but think about it in organizing. Like if you frame things as organizing and organization, and you stay away from that whole leadership talk of how we deal with our politics, how we deal with our community organizing, I think it's just better when you just train organizers.
I think it takes more than training organizers, even though that's essential.
Yeah.
But if we look
I agree with the ideology. I agree with the agenda. I think when you're framing an organization, it's best to just call people organizers.
But here's the problem with just the training the organizers. You'll see a lot of people doing work, and you take a moment, which I did way back during the Occupy movement. Mm-hmm. I went and talked to some socialist organizers who were down at the encampment.
White people movement.
Yes.
Yeah, they're musty.
Natural, earthy. They prefer earthy.
Anybody who's using natural deodorant, they're
musty. Shout out to
the
white left. I don't think they get enough props. Antifa,
they get a lot,
Animal Liberation Front, Deep Green Resistance. Shout out to the white left radicals. But I talked to the average.
Stink.
If you talk to the rank and file member of a black organization or a white leftist organization, and you ask them about their ideology, they don't know it. They can pass out the pamphlets, they do the work, they show up at the protests, they show up at the actions, they sign the petitions, but they don't understand what they're doing. I think ideological and political training is much more important than training simple organizers. You need to be more than allow me to finish. You need to be more than an organizer. You need to be the living embodiment of the ideas that you're trying to promote in the society.
That's how I view organizing. I view political education as organizing. I don't just view activism as organizing. I feel like organizers have to be trained in the art of political education, know what they're talking about, living what they're talking about, because organization happens every day. How we deal with our families, how we interact day to day in the world. Like, you're constantly organizing.
But the problem
that's how I see it.
Here's the problem, though. I'm sure you've been around a long time, activists.
Yeah.
You've done grassroots activism. You've done higher level political policy activism.
Yeah.
Inevitably, when you're in a room full of black people, you're going to have that usually brother stand up. I ain't with all this talk.
All right.
I'm down for action.
I love those brothers.
And those brothers are the most disruptive.
Yeah.
So there is a devaluation
Right. So when we did
of the ideological and intellectual work.
Right.
And we expend a lot of energy.
We do.
From digging trenches to burning down cities, as the right wing said. We apparently Black Lives Matter burnt down cities all over this country. And I can't find one burnt down city. I want to go there and bathe in the ashes, but I can't find the city. But the ideological training, ideology is where, because when the leader gets decapitated, or they find a corrupt leader, or the feds come in and disperse and atomize the group, the whole thing collapses. But if every person, like if you look at the communist revolution, if you look at the Castro and the socialist revolution, if you look at the revolutions where the end of, and they thought, oh, once Castro's dead, it's over for the Cubans. But socialism it's
an institution.
They said when Yasser Arafat in Palestine, when Yasser Arafat died, that's it for the Palestinian resistance. And the Palestinian resistance is still going. They thought that the communism was going to die with Mao. They think that when the Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-il, they always thought when they died, that's it for the North Korean regime. But because they have counter-indoctrinated and infused the ideas and agendas, not saying that I support and agree with all this. All I'm looking at, what does it take to sustain a people on and through a movement and to make broad change? And we don't do that work.
It's hard work. I remember doing that work.
We don't do it.
I remember doing that work. And when we instituted Sankofa Study Circle, when we organized All Black Everything in Milwaukee, an organization that was focused around Black liberation, I mean, they would interrupt the Sankofa study circles, and I knew what they were going to say every time. So I knew how to veer around those type of topics. But we studied Blueprint for Black Power. We studied. And Amos Wilson, he calls people out. And he comes at it from a very scientific, psychological perspective where it's really hard to disagree with him. And those were our most heated arguments, like talking about religion, talking about politics, talking about all the things that we think that we know how to do in organizing spaces that are really counter-revolutionary, at best reformists, at best integrationists. And one of the hardest things is getting our people just to agree on things. And that's what makes ideology so hard, because you have to agree on some stuff. Right. You got to sit there and agree and have a process where people are heard and agree on some principles that we live and die by.
Yes.
Things that we think about, barometers, metrics, like this is what we believe. And that's very, very tough with folks who come from different religious backgrounds and who don't want to sit and study and read. Like I heard that all the time, man, we got to be out there. We got to be out there. And I'm like, look, if you want to go out there, we support you, but we're trying to build something here. And then one of the other hardest things was getting people to take the leadership themselves and just do stuff. Like if you haven't, we try to create a space where if you believed in community gardening, do that. And we're there with you. If you believe in this, we're there with you. And it was very hard, like getting folks to just do what they wanted to do. They were always looking for me or the other person, or my partner in crime at the time, for constant guidance. Like they wanted that, that Messiah figure. And it was tough shedding that and saying, no, we're not doing that here. Because that was the issue. Like we get caught up in these leaders, and that's how we either go up or down in our belief system, is through these personalities. And no, you have to institutionalize an organization and principles and way of life, and agenda. Yeah. That's what we don't do, especially around voting time. Let's come around with some chicken. Give me a Jay-Z concert.
I give Black people more credit than that, though.
Oh, you can.
I know you've been in the trenches, but I give Black people more credit than that. And there's something more I want to say about agreement, but we have to move on.
Yeah.
But one thing I learned about agreement.
What?
If you're in a room with 1,000 Black people and you say, "Are we African? Are we Black?" They fight, right?
Yeah, we fighting.
If you're in a room
I'm from Chicago.
If you're in a room full of Black people and you say, "Do we protest in the streets or do we go to the ballot box?" There's a bunch of fighting.
Yeah.
If you go to Black people and say, "Should we focus on supporting our own businesses?" They want to fight. But if you say, "Who in here love Jordans? Who in here love Jesus?"
Man. Give me 2 pairs.
Who in here love Popeye's chicken? So we have the capacity
3 in a row.
We have a capacity for agreement and unity.
Yeah.
Around everything
and bullshit.
Around everything except for issues related to our empowerment and liberation.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for that. I'll get into that, but we got to talk about
bullshit.
the release of Sundiata Kohli.
First of all, congratulations
to
Sundiata.
I say it's a tragedy.
He gets to spend time with his daughter.
I think that's wonderful.
With his daughter.
I think that's wonderful.
That's great.
But it's also a tragedy.
What's the tragedy about it?
He's in his late 80s and he has dementia.
I saw that, early signs of dementia.
Should have been free.
He should have been free. That's the issue, right? But shouldn't we celebrate the release of political prisoners?
And we should be outraged by the systems. So, I mean, sometimes it's like Juneteenth to me. I don't understand why Juneteenth is a holiday and celebration.
Oh man, it's cracking now.
I always thought Juneteenth. When Kansas City, Missouri had a Juneteenth, I said, why isn't that a day of reflection and mourning? What about Juneteenth? You're celebrating Africans spending extended time under chattel slavery.
Well, because we like having a good time, brother. We like partying. We like celebrating, man. Like in Milwaukee, they celebrate every week.
It's weird. yeah, you know, like
oh man, I got in this article today, man. Celebration, community progress. But 10-year-old just got shot. You know what I'm saying? We still poor. Our material conditions are still shitty. But let me celebrate another Negro getting a good job.
Well, there's a difference as I was taught. There's a difference between partying and celebrating. We do a lot of partying. We don't do so much celebrating.
What's the difference, man? I see
a party is revelry for revelry's sakes. A celebration is the acknowledgement of
work,
of a milestone or an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's how I feel about Kwanzaa. It's like every year we don't do any work, and then we come together to celebrate community, and then we go back to not doing work. Like I agree with you. A celebration is a recognition of work that has been done.
So it ain't no Kwanzaa.
And the only true reward for work is more work.
Right.
That's a concept I did not realize as a younger organizer. Like I just felt like, man, this is more work to do. That's the reward. And that's terrible.
Yeah. and I was taught that Kwanzaa was a replica of a harvest festival. And I went to the citywide Kwanzaa organizer, and I said, Kwanzaa is about sowing seeds, cultivating those seeds, and then the harvest. So I said, every Kwanzaa there should be a list of goals laid out.
Yeah.
That can be broken down in 1 year spans, and every year of Kwanzaa,
we measured against
the
those
scale
metrics,
of the celebration will be related to how close we came to that annual accomplishment. But Sundiata, in celebration of
poetry and drum circles
release, I brought in this pamphlet I've had since I was like 15 years old.
Bits and pieces.
Hey. And there's one section in this book that I love, and I would just like to get your thoughts on it.
Okay.
There's a section called it's a pamphlet. It's not even a book. It's called The Negative Aspects of the Black Panther Party's Contribution. Right?
The negative aspects.
But he also, because he's not a hater like us, he also has
We're haters.
He also put in the book the positive aspects of the Black Panthers. I'm sorry for the notes and stuff.
Yeah.
But so let's just go really quickly, just because, if we're going to celebrate Sundiata, the best thing, I'm sure Sundiata would say, carry on the struggle. He was a Black Panther.
Yeah.
Then he became a Black Liberation Army armed insurgent guerrilla.
Yeah.
And so the best thing we can do, as opposed to just celebrating him, can we adopt and learn the lessons that his life and sacrifices has taught us?
I think that's what we're supposed to do.
So the number one positive aspect of Black Panther Party's contribution to Black people, he says, is self-defense.
That's the biggest contribution?
No, none. Not the number one in terms of the greatest. It's just one of the things, like, when the Panthers came about, the tradition for Black struggle was let the white man spit on you, let the white man throw bricks at you,
degrade you,
let the white man sick dogs and water hoses on you, and you literally overcome the white man with your capacity to love.
Yeah.
Kwame Ture was one of the first prominent Black figures. He was Stokely Carmichael at the time to say, if these crackers put their hands on me, I'm going to hit them back.
I'm smacking them.
He said that standing shoulder to shoulder with Dr. King.
Yeah.
And Dr. King dropped his head and was like,
"Oh, brother, you messing up the donations."
So do you agree that that's one of the positive aspects that the Panthers, one of the things they modeled for the Black struggles? Self-defense.
I think it's the more well-known contribution. If you're asking me, is it the most positive contribution that the Black Panthers have?
No, I didn't say most. You keep saying most. It's one of the positive contributions that the Black Panther Party contributed and the Black Liberation Movement, self-defense.
Sure.
Number 2, not the second best, just number 2 is just numbering, revolutionary nationalist ideology.
Oh, man. Well, nationalist ideology is counter-revolutionary. So
it came to be that.
It came to be that, but yeah.
Initially,
I think in terms when I hear that and I know about the contextual history of the Black Panthers, all I hear is pride and dignity. When you say that, I just hear Black pride, Black power, Black dignity. I think that's what they represented.
Well, what we don't understand about
They were the sons of Malcolm, you know? Right? Then they had the picture of Malcolm X.
But I wouldn't.
Sanctuary.
Yeah.
But they called themselves the children of Malcolm.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like they were taking his principles and actually having the opportunity to organize them to a certain extent.
But here's the issue with why nationalism, when he wrote this in the 80s, here's the issue. Nationalism, Black nationalism was birthed under colonialism and Jim Crow. So Black nationalism became a challenge and an affront to white colonial and white hegemonic power.
Right.
That's what Black nationalism was: decolonize Africa and secure civil rights and dignity and freedom for Africans under Jim Crow around the diaspora. After decolonization and civil rights reforms, Black nationalism devolved.
Okay.
And it went from being a challenge to white hegemony and white nationalism to being a pale, pun intended, imitation of white nationalism. And that was my problem.
Oh, yeah.
So when you look at the average Black nationalist, they want strong Black family, traditional family,
It's
traditional
very conservative.
values. Right.
Very conservative.
That's
I think
the
that, to be honest with you, that as a younger person, that was the appeal of the Nation of Islam. Like when you saw them preaching at the mosque, and when you saw them on the street corners, or when they would speak at the anti-gun violence rallies, they had a lot of rhetoric that just made you feel proud, like dignified, like strong men, like taking care of business, right? And then when you start to understand the ideology, you're like, man, this is some conservative weirdo shit.
Exactly. So I would, even though Sundiata said that's a positive contribution, I wouldn't say but then he did say revolutionary nationalism.
Yeah,
and I think we have to say revolutionary nationalism now instead of Black nationalism, because there's a lot of reactionary Black nationalism too. So I would say that.
And
Number 3,
and they study communism, they study sociology. So we have to get
Mao's little red book.
Right. So I think that's how they define their revolutionary nationalism. It was like mixed with that.
So
with that. Yeah,
all right. So next, number 3, Sundiata Acoli said mass organizing techniques.
Yeah, they were good organizers.
I mean, they grew.
They produced a lot of good organizers.
Yeah.
They really were a birthing ground for a lot of the more radical elements that came out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Radical ideology. But I would say, H. Rap Brown.
I remember how Asada talked about her time with the Southern Leadership Conference.
That's what I was about to say.
And then going to Black,
SCLC under H. Rap Brown, Asada, they all came out of LCLC.
They all
that
came
was
out of
birthed out of the National Baptist Convention and all that. So even though the Black Panthers, many of the mass organizing techniques came out of the civil rights organization.
It did.
But instead
they just weren't down with getting spit on. I'm
exactly
not doing that. I'm slapping the shit out of
Well, it's a little more than that. They weren't down with integration. They didn't want equality with the oppressor. They wanted liberation from the oppressor.
Yeah. So
they used the same organizing, mass organizing, outreach, and demonstration techniques, but they had a different goal.
Yeah. A lot of folks came out of SNCC.
So I don't know if we can give the Panthers credit for that. Oh, here's a good one. Number 4.
Well, they shouldn't get sole credit, but they were a good organization.
Yes.
They attended to the material needs of the community.
But he was like Black Panthers Party's contribution.
Yeah.
They actually inherited that. So I guess if I inherit
it's an inherited legacy.
It's
an inherited legacy. Yeah.
They didn't found it.
Yeah, but they're popular for that. So people, they when they think of that type of organizing model, even though there were people before that, they think of the Black Panthers.
Yes.
It's part of their branding.
Okay, so number 4, which I give them enough props. They outdid the Baptist Convention and SCLC on this practice of women's equality.
They did. They actually let them talk.
They let them hold leadership.
They can hold leadership. You come into the church, man, you got to you can't show your thigh. You can't preach. You better get it back there, make some chicken for the chicken dinners. You can count the money. You can't decide nothing. And you can't
civil
preach.
rights movement is never really accounted for.
They have not. And Ella Baker talked a lot of shit about that.
Yeah. So the Panthers were,
with that
even
model.
though they had people like Cleaver in there.
Yeah.
That I don't think they adequately checked him enough, but I give them props for that. That was definitely a positive innovation that we've lost. We're back to Black straight pride, but I guess ADOS has a woman at the helm.
They do, you know.
But let me stop playing. But
she
practice of women's equality. I do think that the Panthers have, but it's kind of weird because you had some women in the Panthers, like Cleaver, and she's like, oh, I was oppressed, and like you were the chairwoman of the organization for some time, and if it was discriminating against women, why didn't you use your leadership? But that's a question for another day. But I do, I would give him props for that. But, and number 5, propaganda techniques.
Yeah, Asada talked a lot about the propaganda. She said her favorite times when they were marching and just singing songs, the morale, the community of it all. Yeah, like they built a culture. Now, when they started finding out brothers was living in condos, and you got me in the barracks, and you in a condo, those are some different things. But she talked about the culture of it.
Oh, we're going to get into the negative aspects. These are the positives.
Those are the positives.
But he said things like mass rallies, speaking tours, slogans, posters, leaflets, cartoons, buttons.
Yeah, the aesthetic. The chants, like those things still live
graffiti,
today. Beyonce did a whole Super Bowl performance around the Black Panther aesthetic.
That was a disrespect, mad disrespect.
A lot of people saw that as revolutionary.
Yeah, so I think that I don't even call it propaganda. I call it counter propaganda and counter indoctrination because the dominant system is, the main voice in people's heads. Yeah. So now let's move on.
Okay.
So we give them all that. I just would put an asterisk next to the mass organizing techniques.
Yeah.
Now the negative aspects of the Black. This is what you really look at you.
Let's get
you
to
can't
it.
wait, rubbing your hands together.
Let's
you
get
can't
to it.
wait, y'all.
Let's get to it, man.
So negative.
I think this is a good conversation. This is a good conversation.
Self-criticism. The negative aspects of Black Panther Party contributions. Leadership was corrupted.
Okay.
Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, Edric Cleaver, each in their own way caved into pressures and began acting in a manner that was deliberately designed to destroy the Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
And to disillusion not only party members, but African people in America for years to come.
Yeah.
COINTELPRO's hopes were that Africans in America would be so disillusioned that they never again would they trust or follow any African leader or organizations which advocated real solutions to Black oppression.
I agree.
I have a recording. I should post it of interview of Bobby Seale, and then on that same cassette tape, there's an interview of Huey P. Newton, and they just ripping into each other, tearing each other down.
Yeah, I believe that.
Like Yvette,
I mean,
and
their disciplining
Boyce
of their own
Watkins.
members was violent, was very violent, very brutal. They were high, they were inebriated,
Yeah, no
They were living in upscale condos in a different part of the city, while other people were living in squalor. It was a lot of corruption.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, number 2, combined above and underground. Their underground activities, bank robberies, armed revolutionary actions, plus their above ground political organizing, protest, leafleting, and food programs, housing programs.
Yeah.
They had people who were engaged in the above ground organizing and community education and work were also connected to and participating in underground revolutionary action.
Yeah, you got to have a separation between the gorilla, the gorilla, and the face.
Right. When Del Jones
they should be operating individually. Like they should not be sharing
separate.
secrets. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Within the same agenda,
Yeah.
different factions.
Different faction with a different way and a different, a different means of doing things.
And when Del Jones went to Louisiana, way back in the 80s, he was an author, he was a journalist, he was a researcher, he was an advocate for revolution. He said when they brought him down there, they started showing him their weapon stockpiles and their maps, and he was like, "I'm not supposed to see this."
So it's like
I'm a public figure and a public voice in the Black liberation movement.
Is this similar to when people snitch on themselves on social media?
It wasn't. So it was 80s.
Like,
but
I know it was the equivalent to that though.
Well,
hey man, look at all my guns in the back and my drugs.
Not because that's
I'm at 6922 West State.
Right.
Holla at me.
But no, they didn't do that. It was actually not akin to that because Del Jones was a revolutionary. He was down in Grenada.
Yeah.
When the troops came in to unseat, the New Jewel movement.
He was about that life.
But Del Jones was like, I'm not a part of your underground liberation movement. I'm here to rally support for you. I'm here to do book signings and encourage and educate. I'm an educator and a journalist.
Right.
I'm here to give information and documentation to the people. I don't need to see the underground resources. But they were so proud of themselves and they respected Del Jones so much.
They wanted to show him.
They was like, look what we're doing. He's like, I shouldn't be saying this.
I shouldn't be saying that.
So that was something we still struggle with.
It is.
Number 3, this is something, man. The rhetoric outstripped their capabilities.
Oh, a lot of when you read some counter critiques of Fred Hampton and his speeches, they just weren't prepared to shoot. They weren't prepared for those type of tactics. They definitely weren't prepared for the counter propaganda element of COINTELPRO and
counterinsurgency.
Right, the counterinsurgency. They were definitely not prepared about that. But what they also did is they put targets on themselves, and they wrote a lot of checks that they couldn't cash.
Yeah,
in terms of artillery, in terms of tactics and skill,
in terms of their numbers.
Yeah,
and in terms of the party discipline, the discipline and commitment of their rank and file.
Yeah, definitely the discipline of the rank and file.
Sundiata called it selling wolf tickets.
There was a lot of wolf tickets. And
that the Black Panther
Party
a lot was selling. There was a lot of power and a lot of things they were capable and willing to do.
Yeah.
When they went in to assassinate Chairman Fred Hampton, they said not one bullet was shot back.
Right. You didn't get one off.
They found when the investigators came to the crime scene and the police said, well, there's the bullet holes where they were shooting at us. And they took it, did forensic examination and found out it was nail holes.
Right. They didn't get one shot off.
They took out one of our greatest revolutionary leaders and we didn't get one shot off.
Yeah.
So he said that our rhetoric about nation time and revolution and war outpaced.
Yeah.
Number 4, this is a little dated term.
I used to date a vegan that ate bacon. The rhetoric never matched the action.
Soy bacon?
No.
Tempeh bacon.
Pork bacon. She was a vegan.
On the down low?
And she marketed herself on social media as a vegan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Eating bacon. Eating the swine.
You ain't gonna name her name though.
I will.
When time comes. It's a public figure. I think I know who you're talking about. I definitely know who you're talking about, and I don't want smoke.
On this journey,
she's a good sister doing good work in the community.
In this journey, we will have a lot of revelations, man.
She's a good sister doing good work.
I don't dispute these people. I don't dispute those facts, but I witnessed her posting about being a vegan while eating a cheeseburger with bacon on it from Culver's.
Lord have her mercy. Okay, let's move on.
I bought it.
We're going into dangerous territory. Let's get back to honoring the wisdom of the revolutionary elder Sundiata.
Okay.
Number 4, a little dated term, lumpen tendencies. And just to explain lumpen.
Yeah.
And this is Marx's analysis. He said you had the proletariat, who were the potential revolutionary class, the workers.
Right.
And you had the bourgeoisie, who were the elites who owned the means of production.
Right.
Those were the 2 major classes in society. But there was a third class called the lumpen. And he said that the lumpen had no revolutionary potential because they were not part of the working productive classes.
Right.
They were the ne'er-do-wells,
right,
the petty criminals, the drug addicts, and the washouts.
Yeah.
And so that was called the lumpen proletariat.
Yeah.
And so back in the 60s,
the thugs,
to call somebody lumpen, they were a drug addict or a thug, young thug, and gunner would be considered lumpen.
A degenerate. They considered it degeneracy.
He said a lot of people who claimed to be revolutionaries had those lumpen tendencies.
Yeah, because we see those lumpen gangster tendencies as revolutionary and as strength.
Lack of discipline.
Yeah.
Drug abuse, curse words.
Yeah.
Loose sexual morals, a criminal mentality.
Everybody was
prone
getting it in.
to rash actions.
Yeah.
There were a lot of non-revolutionaries allowed into a revolutionary organization. Lumping tendencies.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Something I struggle with. I'm always attacking and get attacked about. Dogmatism.
You're anti-dogma.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's basically approaching your movement with religious fervor, not willing to hear criticisms about yourself or criticisms about your ideology,
right?
Being unwavering. And he said that it turned people off. And it also breeds...
It's a lack of critical thinking. Yeah.
Thinking you have the absolute truth.
Yeah. That turns people off.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
nobody
dogmatism was prominent in the Black Panther.
Nobody wants to listen to know-it-alls. You got to respect people's journey and process. Like Malcolm said, you didn't always know what you know.
Exactly.
So chill out.
2 more to go. 2 more teardowns.
Eat that bacon burger, sister vegan.
You're not
on your journey
if you're eating meat.
She backslid.
But veganism is not just plant-based. Veganism, you got to support animal rights and animal liberation.
Well, on Tuesday, I did not.
I don't think we'll have human liberation without animal liberation, because every
That's
society that I know that treats animals like commodities, also treats humans like commodities.
Yeah, no doubt. That's all we do.
So you're gonna get off the swine?
I told you I'm transitioning, man. I'm at turkey bacon now.
Thank you.
I'm making a transition.
My prayers have not been answered.
She's been talking about going vegan, so
right.
I'm listening, and I'm like,
right on.
Let's talk about the protocol, the process,
the wisdom of African women.
Let's talk about it.
Every great man, guess who's behind?
No doubt. Debt. No, I was playing.
Good woman. Let's change that. For every great man, there's a woman beside him.
Yeah, beside him, not behind. Right. She might help me. She with me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So she's talking about it. So right. The next couple of years,
we'll tell her. That's too long. How many animals must suffer?
For somebody whose favorite members of prolific rap groups is Pras and Jerobi, you should have some grace here.
I actually reached out to Jerobi. I sent him a message
to come on the show.
No, he was making food, and I'm like, you can make a vegan version of that. You don't have to
you
mutilate the carcass of a dead animal to
enlighten yourself, brother. Vegan pork chops.
But I don't want to be dogmatic about my veganism. I appreciate and support your transition.
Thank you, man.
As long as it takes.
Thank you.
Because I'm done being dogmatic. Now that Sundiata said dogmatism's messing up the Black liberation struggle. Okay. Number 6. Oh, y'all gonna like this. Failure to organize economic foundations in the community.
Yeah.
The Black Panther Party preached socialist politics. They were anti-capitalist, and this skewered their concept of building economic foundations in a community. They often gave the impression that to engage in any underlying business enterprise was to engage in capitalism, and they were too frequently looked with disdain upon small business people in the community.
Yeah. I mean, they basically said, if you're not giving to us, you're against us. So that's the opening chip. That's the opening conversation. Are you with us? Will you donate some money? If not, there's no conversation. You're against us. Yeah. You could say that they were what's the legal term for that? Shaking people down? Were they shaking down small Black businesses?
Right.
For donations, for some socks. I don't know. Seemed like it.
But maybe the Panthers were right about that, because this was in 1985, and now that we have the cult of entrepreneurialism in the Black community and the Black liberation struggle,
we're bosses. We're the bosses now,
right? And then people
we make earrings.
Fiat is freedom.
Yeah, we make earrings and T-shirts. We are bosses.
So I think there's a way to approach this,
and
I would say socialistic or communal based or cooperative enterprises. I think that's a good compromise.
Yeah.
To encourage and engage in cooperative communal economics, as opposed to trying to encourage Black entrepreneurs, Black multimillionaires to support Black liberation, because they will put their economic interests before the Black interests every time. Number 7, the last criticism that Sundiata leveled against the Black Panther Party and Black liberation movement of that era: the TV mentality. The 60s were a time of great flux, a significant segment of U.S. population engaged in mass struggle. The Black liberation, American Indian, Puerto Rican, Asian, Chicano, anti-war, white revolution, and women's liberation movements were all occurring more or less simultaneously during this era. It appears that this sizable flux caused some Panthers to think that a seizure of the state power was imminent, or that revolutionary struggle is like a quick-paced TV program. So the TV mentality is, when you turn on a TV program, you have the intro to the story, you have the climax, you have the revolution, and you're in bed by 8.
There you go.
And so they had short-sighted, and I didn't understand what he meant by TV, because I would think of social media trying to be, but he meant that we thought that this would be an exciting
attention span
TV.
of it all. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was microwave thinking.
Right.
We're gonna put this in the microwave, heat it up,
and
take it out, and we're gonna be ready. And it's like, no, it's a process.
And I say every opportunity, the Black liberation struggle is a multi-generational struggle.
Man, it has to be. It's been proven to be.
Right.
Because we're still in it.
So this is the book. I will put a link in the description under the YouTube.
It sounds like a great book.
Yeah, it's free online.
He offered.
You can get a PDF.
He offered very rational, logical, and critical, positive and negative influences of the party. Like that's pretty well balanced.
Right. So
and consistent with what I've heard from even folks who were in the party. You know? So
And I think every organization should do this on a regular basis. List the strengths, the weaknesses, internal criticism, dissect and reconstruct every organization.
I'm glad you talked about it's a good segue, even though I hate to leave this conversation, and we got to revisit it and truly microanalyze it.
Right.
But when it comes to talking about the positives and negatives and critiquing oneself, we got to talk about the alpha male of all alpha males.
Oh, right. That's
the highest
segue.
The highest value Black man in the history of this country.
Debatable.
Mr. High Value himself, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels, who was a popular YouTube podcaster who really blew up over the past 10 years. He's been out for a long time. I think he started out in men's cologne and in business talk, and he had like a Shark Tank type show where he was trying to fund Black entrepreneurial dreams, but it didn't quite take off
because he didn't have no money to give him after they made
the
sales pitch.
Possibly. Okay. But he transitioned to not only critiquing the negatives and positives of men. He really blew up when he started having women callers call into the show, and he would rate them and tell them what they needed to hear. That's what I've been hearing.
Right.
So he passed away last week. Cardiac arrest. They have not done the autopsy
Get off the swine
as of yet, but he was an avid Red Bull drinker. I heard that every show he would be drinking 1 to 3 Red Bulls. That couldn't be good for your heart. He's also a former cancer. I mean, he's a cancer survivor.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
he had cancer. I think in I forget the year piece, but he had cancer. But relatively, he was a slender guy. He didn't seem overweight for his size.
He seemed fit.
He was high. He was a man of high value.
Silent killer.
Man, silent killer. A lot of Black men in my family have died and had problems with heart issues. But he died. And alpha males are in international mourning because the godfather of high value men has passed away into the ancestral plane. He's probably with, Black Panther.
Did you genuinely follow
the other kings of Wakanda talking, dapping it up right now, telling them, "Hey, man, your wives were 6s. What's your problem? You the king of Wakanda. You bringing home a 6, brother."
Did you genuinely follow him when his content?
I only became familiar with Mr. Samuels because he was on a website that I frequent. thekali.com, and preceding him it was Alpha Male Strategy. So I know there's been like a lineage of these guys. So I only know him through those type of things and then the viral clips. But around last year, I had at least 10 brothers that I've known over the past 10 years inbox me to give my opinion of him. So I know that he had an impact. Like people were listening to him.
Yeah.
And he has legions of followers who think that he's a martyr.
I've encountered some of them.
It's crazy.
I'm waiting for the Illuminati blood sacrifice rhetoric to start.
That's already out there.
It's out there. I've missed it.
They're talking conspiracy. They said this woman wasn't the woman that he was with. She was a nurse. We don't know what type of nurse.
But she was a high value woman. She made over 6 figures a year. And she said that in an interview.
Oh, wow. Well,
she said she made over 6 figures.
Aim high as a high value man. But he was caught clapping cheeks in the wee hours of the night.
With the nurse, she did CPR.
With the lady of the night. Yeah, they have the phone call
that he had met the day before.
Yeah, had her over at his apartment. They had Bible study. Next thing you know, he's dead.
At least he defeated all them gay rumors.
He did, because a lot of brothers thought he was sweet. He said a lot of suspect things. I mean, one of his famous clips is him asking a man,
"You got a big dick?"
You got a big dick.
He didn't ask like that. He's like, "You got a big dick?" And the dude was like taken aback, like,
softly. "What?" No, he was like, "What?"
He was genuinely interested in the answer.
And he said, "So
it wasn't a rhetorical question."
It wasn't rhetorical. He wanted to know. He said, "So you're a fat fuck." This was his words, not mine. Right. You're a fat fuck. You're broke. And you don't even got a big dick. They don't even get a big dick from you. Basically, you offer nothing to women.
Right.
And he got viral based off those type of interactions with his callers.
Right.
But it really wasn't until the women callers started calling in, and he would ask them, "How many kids do you have? How much do you weigh? How tall are you?" Like, he was basically saying, based on your BMI index and your cash flow, you should not be talking about you want a man that has a certain level of income and financial assets.
Were those genuine callers?
I always thought they were paid.
It always seemed staged to me because it was the level of absurdity. I can see people calling, but it seems like it was such a setup. That'd be like somebody call in here and be like,
they weren't even mad.
Yeah,
like they were jovial. They were laughing. I'm like, he's basically telling you ain't shit, and you're laughing and you're not cussing them out. That's what made me suspect.
Yeah, I always thought
he
the calls
mixed in
were
some
staged.
paid callers with other organic, listeners.
Yeah, it seemed like some of the calls
were staged,
were staged,
man.
But let's back up a little bit because we're talking about alpha males in mourning.
Yeah, they're in mourning. What
is an
red
alpha
pill,
male,
blue pill?
And are you an alpha male?
No lie. Almost got into a fight with a brother.
Then you alpha. If you out here fighting,
because he asked me if I was an alpha male, and I said, "That's dumb. You're asking me something dumb, so no." And he took offense to it and wanted to fight me. It was a New Year's Eve, and I was pretty gone.
So
you know what I'm saying? I told him, I said, "You got to watch your tone."
What do
he
you,
got mad.
What
but
do you define
he asked me that.
An alpha male asked.
I'll be honest with you, brother Diallo. I think that shit is corny.
Yeah, but it's something we have to contend with. It's out here.
It's definitely, and I've had these conversations before, and it's always the same reaction. I don't believe that. But according to what I think people believe what alpha males are, they are tall.
6'3". I got one.
They're Tupac in a business suit. That's what an alpha male is.
No, I don't have a suit.
They know how to traverse the different levels of life. They can go to the corporate bedroom. They can take it to the streets. They can light a blunt. They know about stocks and bonds.
I don't do that.
They're men of action, men of leadership. People should submit to the alpha. There's a whole philosophy on this stuff, and people live and die by it.
But
these alpha male
the key
characteristics
is dominant.
They're dominant, yes.
Is dominance in all areas of their interactions.
Yes.
In work, they dominate. In intimate personal relationships,
they lead.
Dominate. Their children,
they
lead,
dominate. They control.
And their recreational fun things is dominance
and
assertion.
Yeah.
Which also leads to having a lot of resources at your disposal and being willing to assert yourself, even to the up to and beyond using violence.
No doubt.
When you feel disrespected,
when you feel disrespected
or
by anyone. Yeah.
So that's
black man. That's why black men giggle when you talk about LeBron James and Michael Jordan. They see them as like the archetype alpha males. They submit to these guys.
So
because of their athletic prowess.
It's peculiar if I'm an alpha male submitting to another male.
That's the thing. A lot of these alpha males seem to need guidance from Kevin Samuels to, like, one guy said, "Man, Kevin Samuels told me to go back to school." And I said, I'm pretty sure you had other people in your life telling you the same thing.
Right.
But you're giving that to Kevin Samuels, somebody you don't even know, for just saying some common sense shit. Do something with your life. Like, It's like a fortune cookie.
You refuse to even engage in the alpha debate in terms of yourself being an alpha male or whether or not other men are alpha. You don't even.
I try. It's tough to navigate because I tread carefully. I'll say that. I tread carefully. So like I dip my toe in the water to see where the conversation is going. And then if I see it going in a productive way, I will engage. That's how I do most conversations.
But you know, there's a new classification that even surpasses alpha.
Well, like he's like the white Power Ranger when Tommy came.
The Sigma male.
Oh, I heard about this. He's the white Power Ranger.
Well, the difference between the Sigma male is an alpha male that doesn't seek or desire intimacy with a woman, because a big part of alpha male is having women at your disposal.
Yeah.
And so the Sigma male doesn't even require intimacy or closeness. The Sigma male has
he's like a Catholic priest.
Well, the Sigma male moves in isolation.
Lonely like the wolf.
Yes, the lone wolf. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the Sigma male.
Okay.
But,
okay. That's a Sigma male.
I've been called beta.
You've been called beta? Really?
So many times.
Because you have feelings?
I used to be called a simp. But then beta is basically what
you got called a simp
so many times online, not to my face.
Yeah, I mean, so when I read this stuff, my background is in psychology, so I try to understand the psychological impact. I feel like that helps me organize better because I know you're crazy for a reason, right? And so I think one of the issues in this whole red pill manosphere, men go their own way. That's the biggest issue that they have with Russell Wilson. He has alpha male traits,
potential.
He has alpha male achievements, but he's a beta male because he chose a single mother who used to deal with Future and Little Bow Wow.
And he defers to her quite a bit.
He defers to her. And he really looks like he loves her.
And dictate to her.
Yeah.
But here's the conundrum.
That's their issue. Like, you should not be that way. You should be this way because you're an alpha. And it's like, duh, you're corny. That's corny.
But what's really wild is that if you look at nature, where you look at the wolf, or since human beings are primates, you look at gorillas or chimpanzees or bonobos or orangutans, the alpha male, the whole purpose of being alpha is to carry favor with the females.
Yeah.
And the bull elephant, the alpha elephant, their whole purpose in life, outside of reproductive capacity, is to sacrifice themselves for the females. So when you see a lot of men they call beta, so actually the alpha male sets themselves up to attract as many females of the species as possible.
Right.
To conduct themselves in a manner within the pride or within the pack or within the grouping or the clutch.
Yeah.
To conduct themselves in a way that is most attractive to females, whether that's butting your horns with another thing, whether it is like the bull elephant or the lion. They generally don't really do anything unless a pack of hyenas comes to attack. Their job is to literally sacrifice themselves for the continuation of the pride.
Right.
But human alpha males see it as a point of weakness to sacrifice yourself or to even conduct yourself in a way that is attractive to the female of the species.
Yeah, it's weak to care.
So it's contradictory
it's
to
very
what
contradictory.
Even though alpha is a mythological thing.
It's a mythological thing, but that's the reason. Like, a lot of these dudes are just hurt. That's it. They're hurt. They've cared before they got played, which is part of the game. You're supposed to learn, maneuver. You know, everybody has dealt with that. What you crying for?
I don't think they're hurt by women. I think they're hurt
by
the oppressor.
I mean, there's a very capitalistic perspective of how they view themselves. If you view yourself based off assets, fiat, currency, clout, you know, materialistic items, if you view yourself that way, you're going to feel bad.
Yeah. But ultimately,
but they also engage in a genre of music that tells them all the time that they're broke, and I'm coming to steal your girl because you're so broke, and I'm coming to shoot at you because you're so broke. So it's like internalized hatred.
Yeah.
They don't like being broke. They hate it. And that's the reason why they're unsuccessful with women, when in reality, you're bozos and you're weird as hell. If you don't listen to Luther Vandross, you don't listen. If you listen to Luther Vandross,
and opinions articulated by Brother Biddle,
I will stand on
represent
it.
Q4 Radio.
On it. I have never met a well-functioning man, a logical, critical man, a balanced, healthy man endorse Kevin Samuels. It's always people that I know that are fuckboys, that are woefully insecure. They are hurt by something that happened some years ago, and they're afraid to let women in. They're afraid to care. They see it as simping. Yeah. All of them are crazy.
Beta male.
They're betas. And they sit around and they're alphas who need a leader. That's I don't even understand the concept of an alpha needing some other man that you don't even know in a dimly lit bedroom or living room with a suit on, with a candle in the background, telling you that you're a high value man. Like, if you need that for dignity, you are lost.
And also, if Kevin Samuels was an alpha, then why are you defending him? You ever see the leader of the Lion Pride or the leader of the Wolf Pack get attacked, and then the other?
You saw Lion King? They left. They said Mufasa. You got that? You got that? All right, I'm over here.
If you were an alpha and you believe Kevin Samuels to be an alpha, you should celebrate his demise.
You should.
You'd be like, yeah,
he went down swinging. Right. Not only that, you're crying that people are talking about him. And I'm like, he got famous.
That's not alpha.
That's not even alpha. Like,
alphas literally celebrate.
You celebrate death.
If you're a ram and I'm a ram,
like
and we button heads, and I butt your head and you fall off the mountain and die, I'm gonna go up on my heels. No. If the one silverback gorilla beats the next silver, and the other silverback,
I get his bananas now.
Right. And
your woman. I get your woman and your bananas.
So it is the least alpha thing in the world to mourn or defend a dead alpha.
Remember in 300, did you see 300?
Yes.
When they said you better either come back on your shield,
right,
or come back victorious.
No, come back holding your shield, or come back
on your shield.
Right.
That's an alpha.
That's so non-alpha. If we opened an alpha school, we could get more money than
alpha school of high value. Yes, man.
High value alpha school. We can get that Umar money.
We can. We can.
Be like, come to our school. It'll be an all men's school, nothing but men's. All men's.
Men's.
And the men's school will be in the forest. Remember, his first school was supposed to be in the forest. None of these women to come down and drag down and it will be so men, strong men's. We go to the woods,
lumberjacks.
And we
chopping down wood. We glistening with sweat,
and we're gonna get some shiny swords and polish them swords, and clang our swords together as warriors. Spartan. You mentioned Sparta.
Yeah, we getting down,
and we can lay on our ship
with other men.
Yo, I just had $1 million idea. We got to just end the show and get to this for somebody to steal us.
Hey man. We got a subscription tier package.
Get this money. That's $1 billion idea.
It is.
High value.
If you're a 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 10.
But the problem is, I don't have like Rolex and suits. I need to get some nice clothes.
All we got to do. All we got. Either we could open a church. I'll tell you what we can do. We can open a church.
That won't work. Nobody's gonna buy me. No, man.
Or
that's too much risk.
Or we can get a super chat going, talking to the alpha males.
Yeah, we could do that.
We could do that.
Instead of even opening the school, we could literally just start demeaning black women.
Yeah. And according to people who are mourning him, he brought people together. That is the craziest shit I've heard. A guy who got off on being divisive. Like, any viral moment from his show was about divisiveness, and it was about berating somebody, whether it was a man or a woman, right? But when he dies, you telling me that he brought people together. That is crazy talk. Just say you like the guy, you had a crush on him, you were entertained by him. I would accept those responses, but don't tell me he was here to bring people together. Who?
He was here to spread truth. Well, lately, now you better stop this, because T. Hyman Police I.
Crime Stoppers.
The mayor, T.I., came out and said, y'all gonna stop bullying this man.
Hey, man.
Slams people for bullying controversial YouTuber Kevin Samuels following his death. T.I. said, y'all gonna stop this.
But T.I. also had a rocket launcher in his Gucci knapsack and then turned around and became a mascot for Crime Stoppers. So, yeah, he was a part of him, one of his jail sentences, a part of his plea deal was community service, and that was turned into him doing those tip for crime commercials in the Atlanta area.
Then that was coerced. He didn't.
He did it.
Ti-6ix9ine. No,
he did it.
No, but
he
that
said,
was coerced.
He said some people call me Tip, but I'm talking about a different tip today. I'm talking about the tips of violence in your community. Call the cops.
When dude thought it was a flex to say that he goes to the gynecologist with his daughter to make sure her
when I saw people agreeing with that,
hymen police. He was policing the hymen more than he was policing the hood.
That's disgusting. Just put your daughter on a chastity belt.
Don't
call it a day.
That. Now you're gonna have alpha males googling that. That's gonna come back.
It takes too much work. They ain't doing that.
They
got to be good with tools.
Traditional values. They always
don't do that.
Return us to the past.
Hey man,
T.I.
they're not building. They not nation building. They talking about relationship advice. They're doing dances in malls. Like it's a different day, man.
But I think you hit the nail on the head.
What in the knapsack? I'm exaggerating, but when he got caught with all those guns
as a felon, right. And they say
I always said he had a rocket launcher in his Gucci knapsack, and he went from that to Crime Stoppers. He was like McGruff the crime dog.
Well, now he's defending a fellow alpha.
McGruff the crime dog. He's defending the alphas.
Right.
Hands off my man. Hands off my man.
You can't have an alpha organization because alpha are in competitions with other alphas. If you're a true alpha, you can't debate with people who don't like Kevin Samuels because alphas don't fight betas, and alphas don't fight with women. The alphas only engage with other alphas.
They only engage with other alphas.
If you are a beta gorilla, the silverback's not going to look at you.
We're not even looking your way.
The silverback only wants to bang with other silverbacks. So the alpha, they just don't know how to alpha. That's why I think if we open a high-value alpha school, we can get paid.
Right.
And you playing and laughing.
The family dog Che, he only responds when there's another alpha dog present.
Right.
If it's a foo-foo dog or a weak dog or a dog that wear tight jeans and leggings, he is not barking at that dog.
They not
but he's not an alpha. But I had a brother, one of the guys who always wanted to have these conversations with me about alpha versus betas. He was a self-proclaimed beta. He started the conversation. Well, I know I'm a beta male.
Okay.
And I just thought that was uncomfortable.
But
he was right. He was right because one time we were all partying and there was this light-skinned dude named Knox with locks. And the guy, his name shall not be known on this show, but he dropped something in his kitchen. And he was a 5%er. And he said, pick that shit up, Earth.
Yeah, it's Earth. Yeah.
But he meant this, but he meant it as he's really calling you a bitch ass. That's what he was saying.
He said that to a dude.
He said that to another man.
That to his wife.
No, he told the other guy that's a 5%er, a self-proclaimed beta, pick that shit up, Earth. But he meant it as bitch ass nigga.
I know, that's right. Yeah.
And he picked it up.
You witnessed that?
Yes, he picked it up. And I have co-witnesses who saw this with me. It was a time in history.
Weird.
Remember the Matrix time where things would slow down? I felt like I could see droplets in the air. Like it was that slow. It was surreal. I was like, duh. I was like, you want to fight? I was asking, so what you want to do here? He was picking it up, picking the cake crumbs up by hand on his knees.
But why? But again, an alpha has the core mission of the alpha is to pass their genetic code on to the next generation.
Right.
That's the primary purpose of alpha.
Yeah.
Everything they do is to pass their genes. So even if you're an alpha and you're dominating another man who's not trying to inhabit your alpha space, that's not alpha.
It's not alpha.
And I know alpha's mythological, just like Christianity.
Like a unicorn.
But you can look at somebody and see if they're being an appropriate prison.
He said Shawshank.
Yes.
Man.
Absolutely.
And the funniest thing, how they say light skin. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
But I always mention that Locks is light skin because they always say light skin brothers are soft.
Yes.
And the guy that he called an Earth and made him pick up the cake was very dark skinned. So it was like a role reversal there.
That's another urban legend.
It happened, brother.
That's like saying gay dudes are soft. You know how many dudes?
No, it's an urban legend, but that's why I say it so people can. Man,
I know some.
I get it. Cats. Yeah, I get it.
I know some like. So yeah, that's another. I mean, how many people that got lumped up?
Right.
Trying to follow these urban legends.
Don't follow that legend, man.
Please.
Every brother with a bald head can't dunk.
Right.
Every 6 foot brother with a bald head can't hoop, man.
Yeah.
They come in with the Jordan jersey on, the armbands, airballing. They got the knee pad on. They got the bread 15s on. Airballing, man. Everybody.
I knew the sister that was organizing this event, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was she had to hire some people to do some work. There was this gay guy that came and some other people. And she's like, I hired the gay guy because I thought, design, fashion.
He would know that.
Organizing, stereotyping.
Yeah.
The dude was the worst.
Yeah, he probably came in with some Dickies.
Right. It was the worst.
some Birdman lug boots.
The dude who came in and fixed everything, did the flower arrangements, the tables, some old rough knuckled, cisgendered.
Heteronormative.
I'm just saying, man, don't judge people on these stereotypes. Have you all messed up?
Hey, man, Knox earned some respect. Knox earned some respect from me that day because I didn't have a high opinion of the brother, but I was
still shouldn't. Why is he doing some stuff like that?
I was like, he was just that type of guy, man. Like him and I never had any run-ins because I'm just a cool person, He's
a bully,
but he had bullish tendencies.
But most bullies are cowed. I had a homie who was a bully.
I feel like if the man who remains nameless would have flexed back, Knox would have backed off.
I know a dude,
but he didn't. He just got to picking up. He became Benson, you know what I'm saying, and started Mr. Belvedere cleaning up stuff, cleaning up crumbs.
I had a homie who had a baby.
He's a good cleaner.
I had a homie who had a baby mama. This dude was a bully, and she had a younger son. She had a daughter with him, and then she had a son by the next dude. And so his baby mama called him and was like, you need to come get your daughter. You need to bring some resources over. You need to do these things. And he was telling her, baby, I can't get over there right now. I got things I got to do, and I'll see if I can get by there next week, right? And then the dude she was in a relationship with in the background was like, dude needs to step up and take more responsibility for his daughter. I'm over here taking care of his daughter.
Hey,
guess what happened at that very moment?
What?
He found time to go over there. He was like, he jumped in the car, and I'm like, yo, I ain't gonna say his name, but I'm like, yo, dude, you was just telling her you didn't have time to get over there. You was making all these excuses, talking about you trying to work.
And the other brother, and Russell Wilson called you out.
The dude didn't even say nothing to him. The dude was in the background. He overheard him through the phone. He jumped in the car and zips over there. He got all the time in the world to go bump heads and fight this dude in this woman's yard.
Don't be telling me to take care of my kids.
Yeah, these bullies, they weirdos.
That's another thing about the conversation. Weirdos. So, they have this great disdain for single mothers. They call them leftovers, right?
And where do those single mothers come from?
Right. They never talk about
We got a bunch of Mary Magdalenes in this community. Bunch of
twerking. But yeah. So I always say, but the brothers who had mothers as single mothers, that confuses me.
Yeah.
What are you saying about your family members or other women in your life that you love, that because they had a baby, there's a scarlet letter stain on them, and they should not experience a healthy relationship with a healthy man because you see a kid as a mistake, or you see them having a kid with a bum as a mistake, and you see yourself being with her as servant, like this is charity. Well, you shouldn't want. I shouldn't even want you because you got a kid. Like, I'm lowering myself. I'm lowering my value dealing with you.
That's
crazy.
Even more detestable going on in that arena, though, because of the genocidal oppression African people are under.
Yeah.
Men of reproductive age, greatly and have a much lower availability of Black women of reproductive age due to mass incarceration, drug, mental illness, substandard schools, substandard housing, substandard food. So,
Popeyes.
For every eligible woman, functional reproductive age woman, Black woman, for every 100, there could be in some areas like 15 to to 25 eligible men that meets the same partnership status. Right. And so those few remaining black men, I got a job, I go to school, you know, I have a college degree.
Right.
They start getting big-headed because their dating pool amongst black women is so much larger.
Yeah.
And instead of looking at this as a tragedy of a people under genocide, like when my brother got married,
you see it as a status symbol.
When my brother got married, you know how the single women catch the bouquet and the single men catch the garter belt, right?
Yeah.
When it came time for the women to catch the bouquet at my younger brother's wedding, there were like 30 women, and it wasn't even like a large wedding.
Yeah.
And then when it came, because single men, you know, I was with my wife at the time, so but the single men, it was like 3 dudes. And when the garter belt was thrown, they all jumped out.
They all jumped out the way, like the movie Best Man.
And so there's a lot of dudes
that you probably haven't seen
that take that numerical disparity that is a product of genocide,
it's a product, yeah,
and use it as an asset and a tool.
And Kevin Samuels told women they should share those men. If you want that type of man, you're gonna have to share that man. Like that's what dude said, man.
That's one of the least disturbing things he said.
I got a book with Shahrazad Ali. I'm gonna bring it. I'm bringing it next time. I'm bringing that book.
In my notes
that book is crazy.
But they're lying and saying that Shahrazad Ali said a lot of the things that Kevin Samuels said. She said a lot of worse things.
She was off the hook.
Maybe they said that she didn't suffer any backlash.
She did.
And I guess people just
she's not mainstream.
No, she's not mainstream.
Exactly.
Number one.
So you had to suffer backlash.
And number 3, she was theological in her assertion. Y'all want to act like Christianity and Islam defines women as property. Christianity, Islam defines women
as property.
As property.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you know,
over here, Earth.
So you know
meat.
Maybe we can go into more detail.
Serve
I'll bring my
me.
Copy. And you know what? You forgot.
Red pill, blue pill. Who pays the first bill?
I brought the poetry book.
Alpha male energy.
Next
week, baby. Next week.
I'm glad you didn't bring it up.
Next week, man. I forgot.
Anyway,
and I'm writing on my
go like, share,
like the Contra code and put it on my fridge.
Like, share, subscribe.
Every Wednesday.
All that. We building up. This is only our second show.
So Chemistry is getting better.
On the ground floor.
Smooth, you know what I'm saying?
Mad appreciation to everybody.
Thank you for chilling with us.
That's in on the ground floor. We'll see y'all next Wednesday evening.
Peace.
Check out the Bro Diallo show Monday mornings on Q4 Radio as well. Check out the Mix Show, Black Power Media. You know, support independent grassroots black media. We'll see y'all on the flip.
Peace.
How do I do the thing for the thing?
For the thing.
Yeah, I always forget. Oh, here it is. Good night, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh man.
Bring that forward.